The Village and Pillage update, also known as Minecraft 1.14, brought a lot of changes to the village system, updating features like trading and even village generation. All of these updates have been great, but could they be greater? What if the next update, Minecraft 1.15, came with the addition of different stages for villages and how they're generated? As of right now, all villages, despite the difference in architecture in each biome, are essentially the same, in terms of size and features anyways. So what if the next update changed that? My name is System Z, and this is my concept for camping villages and a whole lot more in Minecraft 1.15. If you enjoyed the video and want to support my channel and help me make videos in the future, consider becoming a member, where you'll be invited to my Minecraft and Discord servers, as well as have a chance to help me with new videos through exclusive community posts. Click the join button below for more information, and also thank you to those of you who have become a member since my last video. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another build showcasing something amazing. This is a really cool concept, and I think you're really gonna love it. Now, at surface value, we've got a campground, which, don't get me wrong, is a really cool build on its own. And there's a lot of tips and tricks that I've done in this particular build that you may want to take note of, because there's a lot of awesome inspiration for you builders out there. But beyond that, we've got a really cool concept for an idea that I think should definitely be added to Minecraft 1.15. The next update, following the Village and Pillage update. So it's got big shoes to follow. But anyways, or is it big shoes to fill? It's probably that one. But let's go ahead and take an aerial shot of the actual build so I can show you exactly what we've got in front of us. Now, this is placed into a mega taiga, I believe is what they're called. I completely forgot, but it's the one with the coarse dirt and the podzol, and I think it's a fantastic placement. As you can see, we've got a couple of tents around the place, a couple of structures for points of interest, and some really cool placement of everything. I absolutely love this build. It might be my favorite build of the year. But anyways, before we get too much into the build as a whole, why don't we take a tour going through the place as we talk about this idea that I keep talking about. So, at first glance, we've got a couple of tents. That makes up the main structure of the village. Now, obviously, a normal village is filled with villager houses that have doors, you know, a main piece, a main important artifact of a village, and this has no doors. So I know you're probably going to comment saying, Z, this isn't going to work, but just let's pretend that it does in this case. I imagine if they were added, something like a door would be added, of course. You know, you could easily fit it into this tent somewhere, but in this case, I just wanted to make it look good, so let's go with it. Now, we actually already have tents in the game. That's why I think this would be an easy add to the game. Now, if you go to a pillager outpost, tents occasionally spawn. They just don't look quite as good as this. But anyways, let's go ahead and check it out. So inside, we've got just enough room to fit a bed and a workstation for the profession of the villager. Nothing more, nothing less, because we really don't need it. The thing is this is supposed to resemble a very basic level 1 village, and I'll get more onto that in just a moment, but there really doesn't need to be much to this village. Now, in some cases, we have special village houses like this. In this case, we've got a tent with a blast furnace on the side for the armorer. Now, occasionally with a profession, we're going to need something more than just a tent, so that's what I've done here. And there's some really cool ways I've done this, because honestly, when you're walking around a build, when you have a whole bunch of the same structure, it really just blends together and it's not that interesting. But occasionally when you add things like this, it really spices it up. So that's one building tip that I definitely recommend you look into. That adds a lot more life to your builds. Now, obviously, if I made this entire village out of tents and, you know, occasionally special tents, it wouldn't really be that interesting. So I wanted to add something like this outpost. Villages always have main structures. They've got wells, they've got bell towers, they've got farms, and all of that good stuff. In this case, we've got an outpost that overlooks the village in case pillagers are raiding from that side, or of course coming through the water. It's got a great view of this canal, and I think it's a fantastic point of interest for the build. It doesn't really take away from the concept too much, and obviously because it's made out of wood, it really just kind of fits the theme. It's not too much of an expensive build, and like I said, I think it fits perfectly. And we've got it placed right beside this bridge, which the bridge is a little bit more expensive, but I just had to do it. You know, everybody loves bridges, and I'm everybody. I love bridges too. They're amazing. This is a really, really cool design for a bridge. Really recommend you check it out, and send me photos on Twitter of a better bridge design if you've got it. Of course, using the same blocks. I've used the campfire block here for a bridge because a lot of people seem to like doing that. And of course, we've got the cross beams here with some slabs. I think it just adds a lot. And with the rocks and the subtle landscaping, I really just want to, you know, ride a boat under this. It just seems really atmospheric. There's a lot of cool stuff to look at. So this is one reason I added it. It was actually the first thing I built, and I'm glad that everything turned out the way it did because it looks amazing. And as you're crossing, of course, you say hey to the villagers, but you also see the fishing dock. But we'll go on to that here in just a moment. So the next point of interest is, of course, a bonfire. If it's a camp, we've got to have a bonfire. And that's why I've used campfire and actual fire with some wood to create this bonfire effect. A very cool technique. I definitely recommend you check out my video showcasing different ways to use the campfire, because I did talk about this in that video. But of course, this is where we sing our campfire songs. Now, going back for a second, another reason it's great is because, of course, you can see the smoke from far away. So that'll kind of show you where a camp village is, which allows you to spot it pretty easily. Now, obviously, these guys are going to need to eat something, right? So we've got our farms. The farms are this way. We've got another cove of a couple of tents, nothing crazy, and as you can see, we've got the farm, and the farmer is actually at work. In this case, the village tents are the exact same. Like I said, no point in going in them. We've got the librarian's hut here. But as you can see, we've got a subtle farm here, which doesn't really look like it's enough to feed the village. But don't worry, I've got something just for that. But in this case, it doesn't really need to be all that crazy. Now, I briefly mentioned the idea of this being a level 1 village a moment ago. So we really don't need all of that much. This is supposed to resemble a starter village, because I think it would be a very cool concept to add something like economical growth to the game. Adding that to the world of Minecraft would make it so much more dynamic. Being able to find villages that have gone through different stages would be awesome. So imagine finding a camp. That's level 1. Level 2 would be a normal village, and level 3 could be a village with a castle. I think that would be fantastic, and as they go and as they grow, the trades could be better. There could be more villagers, more forms of protection, and all of that cool stuff. I think that's something we definitely need in the game, just as much as a foxhole. I mean, look at this. This is adorable. This is probably the cutest creature in all of the game right now. And of course, adding a little foxhole would be amazing. Plus, imagine finding like little items like diamonds that spawn occasionally, just because obviously the foxes carry them. That would be super fun. And maybe you would not really find these all over the place. They'd kind of be a rare find, but just a fun one at that. All right, so we've already talked about a lot, and I know you're probably getting tired of seeing tents, but we've got just a couple more to show, and then a couple of more details about this idea. And I promise you'll see why it's so amazing. So, the fishing dock, let's go ahead and check that out. That wheat is really not enough to feed all of those villagers. So, of course, we've got, water here, and with water comes fishing. So we've got the fishermen here on the dock getting food for the village. Plus, perhaps they're also doing base level trading with other villages, so they've got the canal to export and import different goods if they need to. We've also got a basic shop here to buy fishing supplies. Very, very fun, very cool. Now, as far as items go, obviously, I'm all about adding new items to the game, and with adding new structures and new villages comes adding new items. Especially one is fantastic, because I keep mentioning it over and over again on this channel. You're probably tired of it, but the backpack. I love this so much. I've had it for a long time. I forgot who made this model for me, but it has been around for quite some time. If you go on my website, you can actually download this model. Very, very cool. It's basically just a shulker box, but imagine being able to buy a backpack that has about 9 spaces, and you can right-click and open it whenever you need it, and it gives you 9 additional spaces of inventory. I think that would be amazing. And at Minecon, they were talking about adding more reasons to explore to the game, and honestly, not having enough space is a reason not to explore. So by expanding the inventory, we'd have more of a reason to explore, so we could carry more items. So that already would be a fantastic reason to add something like this to the game. Now, we've got a couple of more tents over here, and this is actually my favorite tent overall. I know what you may be thinking, Z, this is just a shepherd's place. Why is this so cool? And it's just because, as I mentioned with the armorer, occasionally we have special tents. We need to show off a profession. This one has the most reason to be here out of all of the tents. Because what do you notice out of these tents? They're all made out of wool. So you kind of wonder, where do they get the wool? Surely there are not enough sheep running around this forest for that much wool. Well, the simple answer is they're making it in-house, or in camp at least. In this case, you can see active production of the wool that is used to make the tents. This just adds so much life to the village and just brings it all together, and it's pretty much my final tip for this video. If you're building a village, my final tip is to make sure that all corners are closed. Basically, you cut all edges or cut all corners or whatever. I don't know the phrase, but you know what I'm saying. Tie everything together. Give it a story. Make it work. In this case, we've got the farm and the fishing dock to add everything together. We've got the outpost to look out for security for pillager raids. And of course, the shepherd's hut to actually create the tents. So it all comes together very nicely. And then, of course, the bonfire for a centerpiece. Now, usually it's a well or a bell tower, but of course, the bonfire had to be this centerpiece for this campground. But that is essentially it for the actual build. But before we go, I do want to briefly talk again about why this would be such a crucial addition to the next update, Minecraft 1.15. Obviously, Village and Pillage changed villages entirely, and they're probably tired of working on villages and villagers. I know I would be. But this is the final piece that we did not get in 1.14. Having something like this, to where its stages of growth would just add so much more life to the game. And it also adds new opportunities for different types of biomes, new trees, new plants, new foods, new blocks, so many different things, because as you can see, this campground is kind of different from a normal village, so it's the perfect opportunity to place different plants and different wildlife, perhaps deer roaming around this forest. That would be amazing on its own. But assuming we get to the castle of a level 3 village, there might be different knights and actual villagers that fight with swords and protect. I think that would be super cool, and I know a lot of people have been asking for that for a long time. But the last part of this is quest. Oh yeah, the magic word. I know everybody out there is ready for quest in Minecraft. It's probably the most #1 requested feature that I get, and I know Mojang gets, because quest would add so much to the game. So the higher the level of the village, the higher and harder the quest. Perhaps a campground, it's, you know, go out and fish and grab a couple of fish for the villagers. Or bring some wool so that we can build more tents. Get resources so that you can help us thrive. But for a level 3 village, they might have the goal of going and killing the Ender Dragon and bringing back the egg. And for a reward of like, 200 emeralds or something like that. Different quests brought to you by a quest maker village would be amazing. But I've got a video on that coming in the future. That's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a thumbs up and consider subscribing and turning on notifications to be alerted whenever I next upload a video. Also, let me know in the comments down below what your opinions of this idea are and what you would like to see added to Minecraft 1.15. Like I said, that's going to be it for today. My name has been System Z. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.